Okay, and welcome to my map, or my farm rather. This isn't my map. This is a map called Michigan. I'm running the HS version here, and we are going to do some farming. Now, what we're basically going to be doing, this is day one. I've done day one on this farm a few times, and on day one, you can see I've got fields 13, 25, 51, and 45 all need to be harvested. We'll quick take a look at it on this wonderful view. So I got corn here, soybeans here, potatoes here, and I've got a little field of corn down here. These are this field 25 is pretty massive. Field 45 down here, it's easier to see what the fields are over here. This field over here is pretty big. This one's notably large, and that's just a little field 2. An afterthought, really. Also, I own this field right here, but it's not planted. So what we're going to do with that is we're going to plant it into something. I'll look into what I want to plant later on in the day. That'll be a separate video. For file size reasons, I'm going to just record my first hour. So let's just note the time. It is 6:45. Hey, remind me to shut this recording down at 7:45. I don't know what I'm going to accomplish in that time. But I will stop the recording and save the game at that point, and we'll start a new video showing the next hour. This is going to be a crazy busy day, so it'll take several videos just to cover day one. As I go through it, days 2, 3, and 4 will be a lot less intense. But this first day is crazy. The first thing I have to worry about is it's day one on the farm. As you can see, if you look up in the top right there, that little 1, day 1, Monday. And what's the weather looking like? We're running soil mod, so we care about the weather. 20 degrees, 16, 20, 25. By the time I get to day 4 here, the weather will have changed 20 times every time I load the game. Now, as I said, I have all this equipment here that comes with the map. There's a few individual pieces of equipment I'm going to save and use for myself, but for the most part, I have other things I would prefer to use. So let's get this stuff to the store to sell it for maximum profit. So right off the bat, I've got this combine. I have certain prejudices, and one of them is I don't really care for farm equipment with tracks. And that is because in reality I have discovered, or I'm aware, I haven't actually had to discover it, I've listened to others, tracks suck. Rocks get in there, they're a pain in the butt to maintain, and where I live, which is southwestern Ontario, Canada, most farmers don't run tractors with tracks. If we're worried about flotation or soil compression, we'll run dual wheels. On the farm that I grew up on and my father still owns, let me just kill this for a second. We actually had fairly good soil, sandy loam, and compaction wasn't a really big deal. On farms, say a little north of where I live, there's a little more clay. Those guys have to worry a little more about soil compaction. So if anybody was going to run a tracked machine, it would be those guys. But anyways, moral of the story is I don't really care for tracked machines. So we're going to get this baby to the store. I have pre-recorded several courses. Just a quick give you a rundown of what I got here. I've got all these individual folders here, and these numbers ones are for the fields that I own or individual locations. This one seed fert is referring to what I'm calling Road 1. just quick show you this. I've labeled, just for courseplay purposes or my own purposes, the roads running north-south 1, 3, and 5, and 7, and the runs running east-west are 2, 4, 6, and 8. If you're wondering what I'm talking about when I say I'm going to road 1 or road 4 or whatever. So I've also got the farm I'm on now is what I have decided to call the cash crop farm, primarily because it has no animals on it whatsoever. It's just a cash crop operation here. A dairy farm, that's where the dairy farm is. There's also sheep there. Dairy pasture is just it's a big enough hunk of grass next to the dairy farm that I've given it its own folder and location so it can go there. Gas stations, probably won't use those stops a lot, but I figured it would come in handy if I want to just send a piece of equipment to that gas station, or if I'm running a course and I want to have him make sure he runs through the gas station for a refill. Greenhouse is a location on this map that'll come up later. Junctions, let's open this up. This will become apparent as I create courses, what I'm doing with them. Basically, we're using crossing points a lot in this map. And I discovered a while ago that it's best to create little junctions, as I'm calling them, at the intersections of roads and the entrances to places, just to ensure that the machine has a smooth course. I found before that if I just had a crossing point, and if you don't know what a crossing point is, don't worry about it, you'll see as we go. If I just had a single crossing point intersect with an entrance single crossing point, often the machinery would overdrive the thing and miss its intersection. Aggravating. Now I discovered that when I was running a far less powerful computer. I have discovered that this computer courseplay runs a little nicer on. Anyways, I've got all these locations and then the roads, and I'm running the developer version of courseplay, which has this beautiful little HUD. So, you can see I've got a course loaded here that I actually just deleted because I was going to save some file space. But anyway, so yeah, this is field 7, and I believe it is a refill to planter course. So I made a course for the field, just real quick. I've got a junction here that is exit to field to 6 east, then I've got 6 east, then I've got a junction that is 6 east to 3 south, then this is road 3 here, so 3 south, and then I have another junction, or an entrance called entrance to cash crop farm, and then I have a short little course pre-recorded here that is refill seed, and it's just running through here, runs right by the seed refill, and then an exit back to 3 north to 6 west, and enter 7. This particular field I've only got one entrance on. So there you can see one of the courses that I've made using several small courses. We'll just kill that. For now, we're going to go to store, and I have a whole bunch of pre-record courses. Not store, cash crop farm. And I've got a subfolder here called courses, and I only have one in there right now, to store. It's just going to take this machine to the store. I'm going to just get the speed to maximum speed. Since I recorded it, I would stop and start and such when I was recording the course. I always want to run maximum speed, or I want to set the speed, I should say. Alright, drive course, and you always forget to press stop at the next trigger. If you don't, he'll just try and go back to the start, which means he'll get stuck in a ditch somewhere. So he's headed to the store. Next machine is going to be this guy, and we'll just grab a piece of equipment. And load up that exact same course, since we're also in the cash crop farm. Courses to store. maximum speed, and he's close enough to the start. I'm just going to press start and he'll go on his merry old way. Number 3, the man truck. Not typical to Michigan, so she will not be lasting. I gotta say, by the way, Steve-O, the guy that made this map, did a wonderful job. He created a beautiful 4x map. Often a big map is, you know, great on functionality. For example, I used to run a map called Pleasant Valley that was awesome. It had all these amazing features, but it was not pretty. Now that was by design for the gentleman who made it. It was a team, I believe. We're looking purely for online function, and they did a great job at it, I'm sure. And if you're interested in checking out maps with lots of features, definitely check out Pleasant Valley. It was definitely feature rich. There was always a million different things to do. It was difficult to do in a single player thing. I never actually did get to finish it because the computer I was running at the time self-imploded while I was running it, and I had to wait a few months before I could buy a new computer. Did I press stop at last trigger when I ran that last one? It doesn't matter, he'll get stuck in traffic anyways. Alright, still at the cash crop farm with this piece of equipment. You'll see there's all those other courses. As we go, you'll see what they're all for and how I'm using them. Case Magnum is in traffic, which means he's caught up to the combine, which of course is leading this race. And speaking of slow equipment, I might as well start the other combine up, since he's got a long drive ahead of him and has a bad habit of, well, these guys are slow, so I'm selling the combine but keeping the headers, but I'll keep them at the store since I'm using the rent mod. Now this is the Orchard. So let's look up Orchard. I think I've got a course pre-recorded to the store. Yep. And I believe start point's in behind me, so I can just press start at nearest waypoint. These videos aren't necessarily meant to be courseplay tutorials as much as they are just to see how I'm using courseplay. And hey, if you want to give me some tips, let me know. Send a message, whatever, however you do it on this whole YouTube thing, which I'm very new to. Alright, oh yeah, this guy. I have no use for this guy, the most useless machine ever designed. Look at the top speed on this thing. So I'm on the top left of the map here at the sawmill, and once again, I have a course set up for this. That was a lot of courses. There was a lot of time spent just recording courses, although probably 4 hours just recording the roads and the junctions and the field entrances and exits. But I only had to do it once, so that was nice. So we're gonna sell this guy. This guy we're gonna keep, but I happen to know where I'm gonna want to have him first, and that's the dairy pasture. There's some annoying trees in the way there that are taking up some land. So let's see, I don't think I have a course set up for it because there was no need to. It was a rarely used course. So now you're going to get to see how we build a course. So I'll turn this on. Sawmill. Exit to 2 east, which is the very first road on the farthest north, running east-west. And that's showing me exiting Sawmill towards 2 east. Now we're going to go to roads. And I've done, if you look at the map, you can see there's a road that basically runs all the way around. So instead of doing individual roads for 1, 2, 7, and 8, I've just done a ring and called it, in this case I'm going clockwise. So
So that's the whole thing all the way around. Okay, we'll close this folder and bring up junctions. Now I'm looking for 2 east, which is, as I said, is the far north road. And I'm going to be going down 5 south, which is the 3rd road over running north-south. So, 2 east to 5 south. Bam, that just shortened that course up quite a bit. Now, we're going to bring up roads, and we're going to hop down 5 south. Okay, and now we're going to bring up junctions, and we're going to go 5 south, and I have to scroll down a ways for this one. A lot of junctions to 4 east. 5 south to 4 east. Okay. Close this folder up. Back to roads. This one's got a few twists and turns on it. 4 east. That's going to take me to the end of 4 east. Got one more course to load, and that is the dairy pasture entrance from 4 east. That's what that means. Enter from 4 east. Boom. Course done. And we'll set this. And heck am I here? And you see the start there. I've got courseplay. It defaults to set to show start and end waypoints, and that's it. At some point, I will need to see some crossing points as we discover that. Well, that's basically, I will show them here. Let's go to settings. Show crossing points. As we drive through here, you will see crossing points. Oh my god, my controller's being annoying. I guess we just missed. Oh, there we are. So it's just crossed those things you see there. That's the end of an entrance or an exit junction course, and then when I recorded the road, I left those other crossing points wherever I had I knew I would need them to meet with the entrance or exit. If someday, if there's a pent-up demand, if I get a whole bunch of requests, which is probably somewhat unlikely, I can show how you record that. But that's, well, frankly, I figured it out. You should be able to too. I will say, Google Satis, S-A-T-I-S, he has several courseplay tutorial vids that were made for the FS13 version that pretty much still apply. Watch those. That's what taught me courseplay in FS13, and well, obviously there's some differences. For the most part, everything, the basic way the thing runs is the same. So anyways, the Combine has arrived at the store. By the way, you'll note that I've got some buildings on this map that are missing textures. Actually, the entire orchard and the trees and everything are missing textures. The garden center is missing textures. As you can see, that case there, I forgot to press stop at last point. And now he's trying to go back and he's stuck. Dummy. Okay, before I sell this guy, I am going to keep the headers, because those are the type of headers I will use when I have combines. I'm actually going to be running exactly the same combine, just without tracks. And it's a modded version. I think it has a greater capacity. I'm pretty positive it has a higher capacity. Perhaps a little unrealistically high. I think it's like 50,000 or something. But that's okay. I'm not a realist, or an anal retentive realist. In some ways I am, in some ways I'm not. Anyways, let's get this baby over here. She's worth a good chunk of change. Shut her down. I'm running manual ignition script, which is useful at times. And press R. Sell. Goodbye. Alright, this guy. My next guy. I'm not going to keep this tractor either, only because I found somebody, I believe I found it on Mod Hoster. I will be using a whole lot of mods in this map, and I apologize for not knowing the creators of the mods for the most part. I usually try and look to see often, just out of curiosity. Frankly, there's certain mods who I don't really care for. Okay, 54 grand for a planter that I'm not going to run. I'll be honest, those class tractors, I typically don't like those. That's Czech mod team or something that created those. It's a silly little thing, but their default camera starting up inside the cab drives me nuts, because if you'll see later in this day, I get busy crazy. I'm jumping around tractors and having to get things unstuck from course play issues and such. I don't have time for that. So anyways, we're at the store. I'm going to load up this course that is going back to the cash crop farm that I have already saved. I always try and close the folders just so that when I reopen it, I can instantly just jump to my next course and go. I'm going to start him in here so he doesn't get caught in this little traffic jam. I just remember, did I remember to hit stop at last spot for this guy? No, I didn't. I always forget that. Alright, did I remember it for him? Yes. And I definitely remembered it for the man. The man. This trailer isn't worth squat, but oh well. Hansi Buffalo is in traffic. I don't care. Alright, and we're gonna send this guy back. And same thing. See, I have to close this just to get up to my next course, which is store, courses, cash crop farm. The nice thing about all these subfolders is that it makes it easy to name things just to cash crop farm, and it's in the store subfolder. So I don't have to write store to cash crop farm and all that stuff. Little things. These subfolders work very well once you figure out how to make them. And as we go, I'm sure I'll make a few more. And you'll see how we do that. Stop at last point or next trigger and next piece of equipment. This guy, I'm going to sell this tractor at this point because it's just big and awkward. I'm not going to use him. The reason I didn't sell that first case is because I've got a lot more equipment to truck up here. Alright, so in the meantime, by the way, I'm also watching my Toronto Maple Leafs play a hockey game on a Saturday night. Watching that on my other computer. And they are tied 2-2. 19 to go in the third. Exciting. The fact that they're not losing right now is impressive because they suck. Alright. Alright, 500 grand. This guy, jeez, this thing is useless. So, oops. Let's press. Get him in here. And get him sold. For 132 grand for a piece of garbage. Okay, that's what I want. Where's that combine? Because this arrived. Oh, 9. Alright, once again, we're going to keep the header. I don't know what you guys call it, but I call it a grain header. You might say, well, what? Isn't a corn header a grain header? Technically, but that's what we refer to them around here as grain headers, as in small grains. Corn header is, well, frankly, a corn header. It's pretty much only used for corn. And this type of header is used for crops like soybeans or corn or wheat, barley, which we do grow around here. We don't grow canola around here. Basically because it takes way too many acres to grow that stuff to get a decent amount of yield. And land around here is about $20,000 an acre right now, which is expensive. So it's just doesn't pay to grow canola. Western Canada, and I assume the Western Midwest, the Western states, places like Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and I'm sure some areas maybe a little north of here in Ontario do grow canola. I don't recall ever seeing that crop growing in a field. We grow around here primarily corn and soybeans. That's the heart. And it's the same as this map is Michigan. It's the same over there. Is there places where we grow potatoes around here? Yeah, but not in a big way. I was in Holland last fall. My family is Dutch, so we all went. My roots are Dutch, I should say. My grandfather immigrated, and my great parents on my mother's side, so I'm a pure blood, just for the record. Not that I care. Anyways, we went to Holland, which was my first time ever going to Europe. It was interesting. You guys got really good coffee, I'll say that. And I did notice an awful lot of potato fields where I was, which was more Groningen for you Hollanders out there, is where my roots are. My grandfather, my father's father, grew up just west, I think it is, of Groningen, whatever it is. And yeah, pretty countryside. Your country is very tourist centric too, a lot more so than we are here. So it's kind of hard for me to judge what a place is like when it's trying to cater to tourism. You know what I mean? Like, so everything's kept old on purpose. It's kind of fake, but it's not. That's the funny thing is Amsterdam, old Amsterdam, and certain parts of Groningen, yeah, it was very old, like 1600s. Around here, that would be considered ancient history. But for the rest part, everything's from the 1800s. Well, I grew up in a house that was built in the 1880s, so that's not really all that big of a deal to me. He's almost where he's got to be. Alright, this guy's on the dairy farm. Yeah, you'll find as we go through these that while I'm doing these tasks, I will annoy you with stupid little tidbits of information and my annoying viewpoints. Deal with it. You'll find that I have a whole lot of viewpoints on stuff. I don't really care about them to the point where I get upset about things, because I figured out a long time ago that we can argue about things, political viewpoints and whatnot, till we get home. I'm not going to change your mind. You're not going to change my mind. Basically, life experiences are what create our opinions, and that's the only thing that will really change your mind on things like that. Dairy farm. Certainly not listen to some guy like me. Alright, to store. Of course, this one starts on the this is the road 4 exit. The Ponzi Scorpion has arrived at his destination. I've got to set the speed up on this guy. Maximum speed. On my laptop, when I was running Farm Simulator, I could not run maximum speed. They would overshoot turns every time. So it is a processor related thing. Still 2-2 in that hockey game. Alright, stop you. Let's park you off to the side. These trees here, obviously, are in the way if I want to run courseplay to cut this grass. So they're going to get removed later on in this day. That'll be not my highest priority. I will find time, but it won't be until like later in the evening. I just figured I'd move them there since I was there. So, another New Holland here. And we'll grab a piece of equipment. I'm going to grab the mowers before I forget. I know they're hiding way back in the back of the dairy farm here. If you're not familiar with the map, it's got a potato washer and a potato steamer there. It's got all the farms have these bays to hold things. the usual things. This one comes with greenhouses. I'm not going to sell them for now, but I'm also not going to really use them unless I remember to. Oh, I got this backwards. Why? Should be hooking up. I really don't like this tractor. Okay. I would keep this tractor, but it doesn't hook up to everything. Like the self-loading wagon, whatever you call those things, they're not common here, so I don't know what their official title would be for haylage or picking up grass. It won't pick one of those up. It's dumb. Anyways, I got that. If you're into, or if you're aware of mods, you know, you're aware that somebody out there made that New Holland pack that pretty much is every single New Holland tractor out there that he's played with and sort of individually tweaked. I've got that. It's adding it added a whole lot of tractors to my mod folder. And I'll probably buy 1 or 2 or 12, I don't know how many of them. I'll be running primarily Cases, New Hollands, and Fence as my tractors. Alright, so the Case is back here. That was the last piece of equipment that he needed to get from that farm, so I'm now going to send him to the dairy farm. You're thinking, oh, you're running soil mod? You're going to need that plow. Well, I am going to need a plow, but not that one. I am not going to use a plow per se, as more of a disc ripper that somebody has been kind enough to modify. Basically, it's a cultivar that somebody modified so that it is a plow, and it resembles what we call around here a disc ripper, and that works for me. It's got 12-meter width on it. Alright, so didn't close this again. Scroll down to store. Courses to dairy farm this time, please. And once again, start him out here so he doesn't get caught in traffic. You stupid idiot. You start it too soon to the start, and it always tries to double back to the start, which is always annoying. Alright, now the man. Shut down his course. Sell this trailer. I will be using specific trailers, most of which will be rentals. And there's one more trailer out there on this map for him up at the sawmill, so I will send him there. I should have a pre-recorded course to sawmill. Yep. Busy, busy, busy. Gotta go, 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 because this tedious little pain in the butt. See, I started it too soon, and he's gonna be dumb about it. What a pain in my bum. And now he'll go. I got this wireless controller that I'm running, and it seems a little buggy. Loses connection briefly. Yeah, right there. Just did. I'm not sure if that's just because of the recording I'm doing or not. You think I'm even going to get started on this harvesting before my hour's up? I don't know. I got a lot of crap to sell. Yeah, it's not going. I'm not sure if it's a controller or just a computer not able to keep up. This is a brand new computer. I'm running an Intel 6600 i5 processor. Uh-oh, Boston scored 3-2. That's disappointing. But not surprising. Boston strong. Anyways, yeah, I'm running that 16 gig of RAM, GTX 970 video card. I'm not selling you. I'm gonna run you back to the dairy farm. Run some more equipment. My graphics settings, I did a benchmark, and yeah, my frame rates were crazy. But I discovered that I need to run vertical sync because I was getting I forget what tearing is what they call it. Come on. To dairy farm. I'm running 2 combined courses because I forgot to shut the old one down, so let's try that again. Start them out here. Take it, my case got to his destination. You know what? I haven't heard from the man. He should be. Okay. Alright, grab. In this guy's case, since I don't want to forget about it, there's a manure spreader in behind this dairy barn. Still got to get rid of some other stuff. I got a potato harvester to get rid of, this big quad to get rid of. It'll all get taken care of. While I'm on this farm, I want to sell that windmill. I'm not in the wind business. I'm in the farm business. And it's worth 700 grand, so I'm gonna want to get rid of that. I could use that money now a lot more than I could use $1,000 an hour or whatever it is. Alright, let's load up course again. My buddy who's just learning about courseplay thinks it's retarded that I can't have this thing just automatically set to run the course in reverse. He might not. He's not all wrong there, but whatever. I think they're doing a total rebuild of courseplay. At least that's the kind of website they said they're starting from scratch for the next versions. We'll see how that goes. I'm sure they're going to try and have several new features on the next versions. Alright, he's got to get the log trailer that's over here. That's, I believe, well, obviously, yeah, it's a starter thing. This map didn't come with any additional mods, so it's just the in-game one. I've got better ones. Well, they're basically the same thing, only they've got a tilting function. Really, I could just use this, but since all the sell points for wood here are raised, you don't need to unload the trailers. But whatever. Sawmill courses to store. I think this will work if I just press drive course. On the road. We're already at $1 million and I haven't even sold that stupid windmill yet. Remind me to sell that one windmill. I'd hate to forget when I'm at the dairy farm. $722. Brad friggin' Marchand. What a bum. There's some sort of video review going on in that hockey game. Stupid Boston. Is our coach Babcock trying to get them to pull that goal back? I doubt it. Either that or they scored again. I've got the volume on pretty low in the hockey game so it doesn't bother us. So I'm not really paying attention to the game. Once again, yes, I'm talking to you something you may have little to no interest in. You might not care about hockey. If so, I'm sorry for you that you don't care about hockey. You should care about hockey because it is the beautiful game, not that stupid one you guys play in Europe. That boring crap that you guys watch. Anyways, I think he just made the no goal symbol. Interesting. To dairy farm. And Brad Marchand looks upset, and so do the Boston fans. I consider this all good. When Brad Marchand is not happy, I am happy, because that guy is a rat. I don't like the man. I just don't. He's not a good person. As much as somebody whom I don't know is not a good person. I'm not entirely sure what's going on with that game. And you probably don't care. While I'm looking at the shadow of this windmill, let's hit P. Garage. Oh, I just heard the score goes back to 2-2. Good news, everybody. Goal disallowed. $600,000 for a windmill. And the reason I wanted to wait till I was at the dairy farm so I could just do it. Otherwise, it always starts where you are and then you have to find it on the map. And this is a big map, so click. And that takes care of that. I'll keep the greenhouses for now. I'm going to keep that wagon only because I actually don't even use it much. I prefer to bale when possible. And that has a little bit to do with the fact that locally we don't use those things. I will say I saw one for sale, a brand new one, a Pottinger one, for sale for the first time ever this year when I was driving through the countryside for work-related purposes. I don't work on a farm now. I am in the manufacturing business. And if I'm honest, I don't miss the farm that much. It may seem like fun and games when you're doing it in this farming simulator, but in real life, it kind of sucked a lot in a lot of different ways. It stank. Right now, it's winter outside. It was cold, or it was very, very hot. Ugh. Milking cows was a miserable job at times. It was rewarding. I was a herdsman on a dairy farm, not my father's, on a different dairy farm. We milked about 250 cows there. Dutch guy, straight from Holland, came with a bunch of money. He went to robots, and that didn't agree with me so much, so I went away from the farm for a while. I did work for another guy, ironically enough, Dutch as well. They're all Dutch. Where the heck am I going? Oh, yeah, back to the dairy farm. But that was a temp thing. We both knew it was a temp thing. I was more or less helping them out. I had, by that point, well, I had been 8 years a herdsman on this farm. I had a pretty fair amount of experience in the business. I do know the dairy business pretty well. In some ways, I always enjoyed working with the cows, managing the herd, the reproductive end of it, and all that. It's a fine. The nice thing about dairy farming is you're not just raising them to kill them. You're raising them to get them to produce as much milk as possible, and that meant that was always a challenge because you had to get as much milk as possible out of the cow, but at the same time it had to be healthy enough that it would reproduce, because if a cow doesn't reproduce, it won't continue to give milk. Where are we now? Oh, this guy's here. So that I enjoyed that challenge. That was basically, there was feeding was critical to that. Too much energy, too much corn, for example, or corn silage was a problem. Then they would burn out. They'd like feeding us too many potato chips, crisps as the Brits would call them. That would work out badly. And then feet feet were huge on cows, especially in this day and age that we don't pasture cows anymore. Like the large dairy farm I worked on, they were kept inside in free stalls all day long. Where am I here? That's the wrong courses. Distracted. Get talking about cows. Oh boy, do I get going. Feet were a big deal, and yeah, basically comfort. You could put that all in one big category. I'm going to sell this tractor at this point because we're running out of equipment to shuttle, I think. Obviously, temperature is always an issue too. In the summer here it gets, and I'm sorry Americans, but I do talk in Celsius. It gets 30 degrees fairly regularly, and then if this can be a humid area for you Americans. Think Chicago. Same sort of idea as far as climate goes. My father grew up in Chicago. Actually, all of my family are Americans, so I will occasionally say disparaging things about America. Deal with it. My brother's American. Lives in Iowa. And all of my extended family is American. My father was American, well, is dual now, but he holds Canadian citizenship. He immigrated to Canada in 1973, and I was born in 74. Now you know how old I am. If you can do math. Alright, this guy, dairy farm. Courses. Food store. 7:30, we got, yeah, we're not going to get any farther other than just getting this equipment to in this first hour. Right, set the speed. But at least we're going to have most of the equipment done by then. Then we're going to go crazy. I'll just start him a little closer. Exciting. 8 minutes left in this hockey game, tied 2-2. Oh, don't worry, I'll let you know if somebody scores. I know that you people listening or watching this video are really worried about that hockey game, so I will keep you up to date. Tedious little stuff here, but that's basically farming. That really sums up Farming Simulator 2015. A whole bunch of tedious little activities grouped together to make one big challenge. Yet, oddly enough, I have no idea why it is I play this game so much, but I do. It's the only video game I'm playing right now. I have friends. My buddy introduced me to this game a couple years ago, and he's not playing it right now. He's got a new PS4. He's all excited with that. So, where am I running here? So he's playing NHL 2016 or whatever, actually, because you know we are Canadians. That's what we do. I can't justify blowing the money on a PS4 for myself. I know I'd probably play it non-stop for the first while, and then probably because I am a 41-year-old man and not that easily amused anymore, I would stop playing it. So I think it would end up costing like $500 or something Canadian to buy one of those things right now. To me, it's just not worth it. I have a PS3. I played it for a while. I enjoyed GTA 5 very much and Call of Duty. And I was playing online with GTA 5 for quite a while. It was cool. You started like any other sort of video game. You start realizing you're just doing the same thing over and over and over again. It's probably one of the nice things about this game is once I get done with this map, I've run it enough, I'll just find somebody will have made a whole new map that'll be silly cool, and I'll get into that. Okay, get rid of this guy. Dairy farm, courses, 2-store, speed, max. Okay, I have actually caught up. I have no piece of equipment currently waiting to he's almost at the store. So when I'm done this, I am going to own the Scorpion, that Lieber, whatever we call it, loader thing, and that is it. Okay, how do you mean? You're almost here. Okay, finish you off. I'm trying to remember. I think I've only got maybe one piece of equipment left at the dairy farm to pick up. So before I send him back, the other New Holland is about there, I'm sure. So I'll just take a quick peek around and see if there's any more equipment there. If there isn't, I'll sell this case. So he's actually not almost there. Well, I guess he is. See that field there? That's field 25. It is massive and it's full of corn that's ready to come off. And I'm going to be putting it all into bunkers. This map is equipped with a lot of bunkers. I have done this day one before, and I know I will fill 4 bunkers in the North BGA. I'm going to fill the little bunker on this dairy farm. And I'm going to fill 3 or 4 bunkers in the South BGA. And I'm hoping to get some in the livestock farm. We haven't been there. It's right next to the store. And the reason I'm going to fill the bunker in this farm and I'm going to fill the bunkers or try and get some on the livestock farm because there's feed mixers on those farms. So I need silage for that. Oh, I do have... Oh no, I'm keeping this guy here. I'll have a use for him since that's the biggest... You guys would call that a windrower. I grew up calling that a rake for some reason. Windrower actually makes more sense. So yes, this is the last piece of equipment that I need to bring out. So, dairy farm, courses, 2 stores. The last course he needs to be loaded with because I'm selling him. That white thing, those buildings and the orchard and such that are white, I don't know why. I think it's entirely possible that I did that myself when I was editing the map for my own personal use. But someday I'll try and solve it. Right now, I'm just ignoring it. Yeah, that building's white. That's a little odd. The seed masters are all white too. There's several seed masters on this farm. Yeah, it is what it is. Another mod I haven't got installed, but I want to before I end of day one, is the bale extension mod. I think that'll be fun, but I'm not sure if the sheds in this map have collision on the roof, so that might be a problem for me. Maybe I should wait until I get a rainy day and I find out. If there isn't, well, I can open the map up in Editor too and find out. You'll see as we go through the map, I have edited it. You may have already noticed it if you're familiar with the map. I've widened all the bridges into the fields. That's just to help me out on courseplay. Using courseplay with those narrow bridges, I could just see that was going to be a disaster for me. The soil mod tanks, the fertilizer and the herbicide tanks, I've moved them once primarily to make them work better with courseplay. And in some cases I moved them just because they were better located elsewhere. For me anyways. A few other things, tip points on the bins. Which one of these? I moved them a little bit out of the bins, once again, for courseplay reasons, so I don't have to back the trailers in. If you go searching around, you will find guys have got tutorials on how to back up in courseplay, back a trailer up. And I have done it. At some point in the future I will do it again, I'm sure. It works far better, especially for the way I'm running this with all these pre-recorded short courses that I link together to make a course. It works best just to be able to drive my trailer beside the bins and have them dump that way. So I moved the tip points out a bit because they weren't quite able to catch, or maybe they could have if I just set my course a little closer into the bin, because they were extended past the front of the bin. But I decided not, since I had the map open in Editor. Anyways, I also took out some hydro poles on the north side of the map, which you'll understand the reasoning for someday in the future. Basically, on the north of the map, you'll see that green stretch running all the way along. There's trees there now. I'm going to have to take them out. I don't like forestry, but that's one big long stretch of hay that I can get rid of. If I get rid of the trees, then I can use that land. So that's my challenge. Also, I'm not going to lie, the fact that I'm going to make literally millions of dollars from the sale of those trees is a factor. Okay. So it did take about an hour to sell all this equipment off. But this is the end of it. So the next step will be to get in the equipment that I need to run this day one harvest, most of which will be rental stuff. I will be buying some things as well, things that I plan on using regularly, sprayers and such. But the harvesting equipment will all be rental. I only use that once every 4 or 5 days. And although I have $3 million here, that goes pretty quick once you start buying a lot of equipment. So I'm going to end this video at this point. When we come back, we're going to get the Field 25 corn silage set up. Well, that's going to be with 2 harvesters, and it'll end up being about 7 wagons or 8 wagons running that. I'm going to have 2 big combines running some soybean fields, and I'm going to have a potato harvester set up going, and they will all be running simultaneously. So that'll be fun. Oh, and don't forget all the trucks to run it. So we'll see you in the next vid.